Welcome everybody. My name is Jay, and this is going to be 3 things that I wish I knew about abstinence before I chose to abstain. Abstinence is, for some people, it's like some people are totally not interested in it at all, and then depending on which communities you go into and which groups you're around, what types of people you're around, it's a hot topic. So again, my name is Jay. I'm a Christian, so most of the content that I create is going to be from a Christian perspective. So if you are interested in that, please be sure to share this video, comment, let me know what you thought. If you're not, you can go on ahead and just slide on out. Whatever, it's cool with me, whichever way. But 3 things, and there's so many more, so many other things I could share, which I may do in a separate video. But these are the 3 top things that I wish people would have shared with me prior to me making that commitment. So I made a commitment to abstain from sex until or unless I got married. I am not married now. I'm gonna be 30 soon, so I am still abstaining, and it's totally my decision to still do that. But there are just so many things I wish I knew about this journey that I feel like I could have been better prepared for. So the first thing is that when you abstain, you're not abstaining specifically to get a spouse. And I use spouse and not the word husband because abstaining is supposed to be for both men and women. I just feel like a lot of times it's geared towards women, but it should be for both. So you don't abstain because you just want to be married and that's like the key that unlocks the door to marriage, right? We know that marriage is the context in which God permits any type of sexual activity, right? So you think if I'm abstaining from sex now, when I get married, I won't have to abstain. And most people don't want to be abstinent for their entire lives, or because at that point that becomes celibacy. But abstaining is both a man and a woman's thing. But I also just wish that it was taught from the perspective of honoring God with your body. I wish that more people, more teachers, more leaders, even people who, have been married for a long time, I wish that they didn't teach abstinence from this perspective of just you abstain until you get married, because you want to honor God. And even when you do get married and you get into, that relationship where now sexual activity and sex is, you can go for it. There's still ways that you still have to keep that particular place pure, and you still want to honor God with your life. So I just wish that they didn't almost make it seem like if you abstain, you're guaranteed a husband, because that's not the way that it works. That's just not the truth. I wish that that's what it was, but that's not the truth. And we know that because there are plenty of people who didn't abstain who have been married. There are people who have abstained and are still abstaining and aren't married. So it just doesn't work that way. But as a Christian, you want to always make sure that you are trying to honor God with everything that you do, every area of your life, right? Your money, how you treat people, your sex life, what you do with your actual body, the words that you say, all of that stuff, it all matters to God. So I wish that we would have been taught, when I made that vow, I was 13. I wish that I would have been taught at 13 that you want to honor God with your body, whether you are married or not. So even if you get married at 23, or if you don't get married until you're 63, you're not doing this for a man or for a woman. You're doing this to honor God, right? So that's the first thing that I wish I was taught. The second thing that as a woman now, I wish that I would have been taught as I got older is that every single month, you are literally fighting for your life because of ovulation. If you do not know what ovulation is, please look it up, because it is a very important part of how the female body works. Each month, you're in a different, each week, I guess, of the month, you're in a different phase of that cycle. And when the ovulation part of that cycle comes, so many different changes in your bodies. The hormone levels are fluctuating and they have changed. Your skin starts to glow. Your sex drive is spiked, because ovulation is the period in which your body's ready to now get pregnant. When you don't get pregnant, then you get a period. So I just wish that people would have prepared me for the spike in sex drive during your ovulation, because I learned that as I started doing research into hormones for other reasons. But no one ever talked to me about that. So each month I almost would feel bad why I have these strong urges and desires, when in reality, that's the way that God created my body. That means my body is functioning properly. Actually, the fact that I'm ovulating, if you're not on birth control that prevents you from ovulating, you should be ovulating. So if you're not, something is generally not working the way that it's supposed to, or there may be, be some other factors that are into play, but generally you're supposed to ovulate each month. So it lets me know that, one, my body is healthy, but also it lets me know that, okay, now I know that this is going to be a struggle, but there's nothing wrong with me. Like, the reason why I'm experiencing these urges or these desires so strongly at this particular time every single month is because this is a part of the way that God created my body to work. And I invite God into all of that. I don't keep God in certain boxes where I pray for certain things and then other areas I deal with by myself. I invite him into every aspect of my life, and I ask him for help with everything. He knows the way he's created my body to function. He knows all of that, all the ins and outs. So I talk to him about everything, and I ask him to help me get through that because he knows that I want to honor him and everything. So that was number 2. The third thing is that I just wish people would have been honest about, I feel like they teach abstinence and, this whole purity thing. And I don't really want to use that word, and I'll get into that in another video, but just specifically abstinence, I wish that they would talk about how difficult it is and that it does not get easier as you get older. It actually becomes more difficult. It's actually easier, I feel, when you're younger, especially for me. When I'm 13, 14, I wasn't really thinking about sex. That wasn't really on my mind. It was not until I got into my 20s, I would say late teens, maybe early 20s and mid 20s is when all of a sudden, when I really started to come into womanhood, then all of a sudden things started to change. And I just wish people would have been more honest about, it's difficult, when you're abstaining from sex, it changes your dating pool. That's just the reality of it. And I mean, you definitely weed out the people who only want to deal with you for sex, which is good. But sometimes you can feel lonely. You can kind of feel like, where are all the guys that, are also supposed to be honoring God with their bodies? I feel like I'm kind of in this alone, and it's just difficult because again, we talked about ovulation. As a woman, you feel like you're fighting against your own natural, God-given desires, and it's very difficult to do that. And honestly, that's part of being a Christian that's difficult, is fighting against your flesh and crucifying your flesh. It's hard. It's possible, because I don't believe that God would ask us to do something and then not give us not empower us and not give us the strength to be able to walk it out, right? But it's difficult. And I think it's important to have a support system, have someone who you can be accountable to, who you can talk to about it, like a real life friend or a mentor, someone who you can just share it with, who you can be honest with, who can pray for you and with you. Because I have that, and it will be difficult to do it without that. I also have a really supportive family, so I'm thankful for that. But I just wish that these are the things that would be talked about. I wish people would talk about the fact that they're teaching you to abstain, but they didn't. I wish they would be honest about why they didn't abstain and how hard it was for them and the struggles that they faced, and knowing that they didn't abstain, what they would have or could have done differently. I just wish people would be more honest about things, because the more honest you are, whether you messed up or not, you can help so many people just by being honest about your story, So I wish those are the 3 things that I wish I knew about abstinence before I made that commitment. If you, enjoyed this video, please like this video. Please comment down below. Let me know your experience with abstinence or celibacy, if that's what, you subscribe to. But definitely let me know, what your thoughts are. And I will see you all in the next video.